Hello and welcome back to the Based Mother Show. I'm your host, Elena Barbera, and we've got a lot going on today. So New York is being sued by Missouri, and we've got a presidential debate in 2 days, and a drunk judge in Georgia made an absolute fool of herself, and so much more. Plus, we get to meet the host of the Two Guys, One Coup show. Let's get to it.
Have you heard of the Based Mother?
Here's a story that kind of made my day. Last week, Andrew Bailey, the Attorney General from Missouri, announced that he's suing New York State for election interference and wrongful prosecution in the Donald Trump Stormy Daniels case. He's saying that the case sabotages Missourians, did I say that right? Missourians' right to a free and fair election. If that's true, all 49 states ought to be suing New York for the same reasons. Like, wouldn't that be interesting? I don't think Alvin Bragg was smart enough to really see the chess moves down the board and see what a can of worms he was opening up for himself. But he's another evil, not so genius, right? Bailey, the guy from Missouri, he said that the investigations and prosecutions of Trump appear to have been conducted in coordination with the DOJ. It seems like that is, that appearance is where there's one of those where there's smoke, there's fire kind of a things. But if he has evidence to back up that appearance, like, we're going to have some serious political drama on our hands, aren't we? My favorite part, though, that I want to share with you is that because it's between states, Missouri suing New York, they say it will likely go straight to the Supreme Court. Now, this is something I didn't know was a real thing, I'm not a constitutional expert. So I'm really excited about that, because if that happens, there will be no hiding all the evidence that Trump wasn't allowed to present in the case. He was stopped from saying a lot of things. So I feel like that will be a place that will be a little bit more fair, or I sure hope so. What do I know? I'm just a girl who's trying to regain some faith in her country, because, we're not really in a great place, are we? But anyway, speaking of Donald Trump, we've got the big debate coming up on Thursday night between Biden and Trump. And here's Joe Biden from the last debate in 2020 telling one truth and a lie in the same sentence. Check this out.
I'm going to eliminate the Trump tax cuts, and I'm going to eliminate those tax cuts and make sure that we invest in the people who, in fact, need the help. People out there need help.
So who is it that Joe ended up taking care of? I mean, people that need help with all that extra tax revenue, because it certainly isn't Americans who can't afford their homes anymore. And it certainly isn't Americans who are having a hard time putting food on the table. It's not veterans who need simplified services to access the services that they earned and they were promised. It's not the Americans dying of fentanyl overdoses thanks to drugs pouring in over the open border. It's not the victims of violent crimes who are being tortured by illegal aliens. Children, women, and men. People are dying at the hands of these Joe's guests. But, I remember now. Joe's taking on that tax revenue and he's spending it on illegal aliens, on their housing, their food, their transportation, their health care, even their legal fees. He's funding foreign governments and their wars. Did you know that we're subsidizing small businesses in Ukraine while we have empty storefronts all over America? We're paying the salaries of Ukrainians' first responders, all 57,000 of them. This is literally where your dollars are going. Try getting a cop to show up fast in a major US city. We see in the reports all the time, people calling the cops waiting hours. They are spread so thin because retirement is up. They are already completely overtaxed. And the Ukrainian guys, though, they're all set. They're getting paid. They're getting their pensions. They're getting everything. So the kernel of truth in Joe's statement is that he was going to take care of people who he deemed to be in need. The lie is that he implied that he was going to be helping Americans to make their lives better. Does your life feel any better? Do you feel improvement over the past 3 years since this guy's been in office? I don't know. I don't. There is a lot at stake in this debate. Not so much for Biden. I mean, he just pretty much has to show up and prove that he's not dead in order for the Dems to call it a win, right? I mean, pretty low bar. Doesn't have to accomplish anything. But I fully expect that he's going to have a bug in his ear. So he's fed every single word that comes out of his mouth. I mean, what else could he be doing preparing at Camp David for a week? Are you kidding me? If he's all as sharp and great as they say he is, what does he need to prepare at all? I mean, like, shouldn't he just be able to tell off Donald Trump and tell him what's what at any given moment? But he's not. So he is in probably mid-stage dementia. I wouldn't say late stage. I mean, he still can put together sentences sometimes and can still articulate what his favorite ice cream is. But if you have to rehearse speaking words as they're being spoken into your ear and you aren't sharp, I mean, that would take a week of practice. That's the only thing that makes sense to me on why he needs to be out of the public eye for a week. Yes, of course, this is just speculation on my part, but it's really not all that far-fetched, is it? I don't care how many times the press secretary tells us that all the videos we see of Biden looking lost are cheap fakes. I believe my eyes over somebody who lies all day long. I mean, it's just lies all day long. Oh, it's exhausting. I don't know about you guys, but I do find it a little tiresome. Doesn't matter. I'm going to keep getting up every day and talking about it, even if I'm tired of it. See, the funny thing is people say that, you know, the press secretary and the mainstream media are defending Biden because they want to get him reelected. And, you know, they do want to hold on to power, but, you know, that's only part of the thing because it's more than that. They're defending him because it's important to them that Biden is the one held fully responsible for everything the administration does. They want to make sure that they take the heat off the people who are really pulling the puppet strings, the people who are really running the show, because we know Joe isn't running anything. I mean, give me a break. They actually want to hold him accountable for the destruction of the nation, even though he's totally out to lunch and doesn't know what's what, because then when he kicks the bucket, they don't have to face any consequences. They could just point at all the destruction and say, it wasn't me. And then they can come in and rescue us with their government programs. And we won't blame them. We'll just be stupid lemmings who follow along. At least that's what they think. That's why they're defending him. And it seems very obvious to me. Again, very, very annoying. So this Thursday night, I believe the whole Patriots Prayer Network is going to be together to react to the debate. So I hope you will join us because there's going to be a lot of fun, lively debate of our own, I'm sure. So be on the lookout for the details on how to watch that. But you don't have to wait until Thursday to meet all of the Patriot Prayer Network hosts because I've got a couple of fellow hosts here today. Let's bring them in. Jim and Dale, who host Two Guys, One Coup. And here they come now. Fellas.
Hello. Great opening.
Yeah,
by the way.
absolutely.
Spot on.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
What do you could add? Please join in.
Well, the tax cuts. What we also know is that if they do let the Trump tax cuts expire in 2025, I believe is when it would be, the corporate tax rates would be higher than in China.
Yeah,
that's going to help American business, isn't it?
Yeah.
So it's great opening. Great opening.
It's not only it's such a weird subject for me because you hear some of even the left crony mainstream media who's saying, you know, he does have cognitive issues. And there's always something behind that to me. There's always something because especially before the debate, because they are preparing you for the worst. You were right in saying that all he has to do is show up and, you know, prove he's alive. And then, it's a win. It's a win. He's our guy, Joe, Uncle Joe. Yeah. And so, you know, they're preparing, they set the bar as low as they possibly can. So if he does anything cognitive, then it's a win, you know? So I don't believe a word of it. Anything at all. Yep. Anything at all. So, it's absolutely, it's unbelievable. And the control, you know, he's easily controllable. So of course, I still think the left puppeteers, and I'm talking about I think Jim and I talk about the Obamas and the Rices and all these, those are the people controlling it all. And he's easy to control for him. Go out and say this, Joe, or go out and do this, or sign this order, or sign. boom, and he does it. So yeah, they really want him. They don't care. You know, and especially Jill, Dr. Jill,
Shame
absolutely
on her.
loves parading
Yeah.
him around, right?
We constantly say that all the time. Shame on her for doing what she's
Shame
doing. This is
on
terrible.
her.
It is undoubtedly elder abuse, the way she treats her husband and drags him around. And I can't imagine if somebody did that to my father, you know, may he rest in peace. It would only happen once. It would only happen once. And then I would never, ever allow it to happen again. I shame on them, but this is a family that really has very low standards.
Correct.
When it comes to just basic morality.
Correct.
Look at Hunter, just right there.
Yep. It's all.
Yeah, and I feel sorry for the kids. To be honest, there's a piece of me that feels sorry for Hunter and Ashley, because I think, you know, we've seen enough to know that they were abused as children. We've heard enough. And so this is what happens. And it's just funny because that's my, you know, that's my jam, is protecting children from the grooming. And one of the reasons is what happens to kids who are groomed and then they are sexually abused as children is they grow up to be lunatics. And we see it in the Biden family. We see two of these kids and, you know, Bo, may he rest in peace. I really don't know a lot about him and what he suffered or how he manifested whatever he went through as a kid.
Right.
Yep. Yeah, absolutely true. I mean, they're a byproduct. I always, every time they talk about Hunter or Ashley and everything that happens there, you kind of get that feeling. You know, there's times obviously I feel sorry for Joe Biden. I mean, because he literally has no idea what he's doing, and so the elder abuse part of it does come in, which Jim and I aren't far from elders, so we're not that far off. So we're seeing it. But I just always say, if you replace. You take any story about Hunter and you replace it with Don Jr., what the headlines would be, the stories, the 24-hour news cycle would be just absolutely apeshit over what was going on there. You know, they would just literally be reporting that constantly, and you never hear it. And it just tells you, just tells you what we're dealing with and what we're up against. That's why podcasts like yours and ours and the whole network is important to get the stories out there. It's where else are you going to get it from? The truth.
You're not getting the truth from anywhere. I just put up an Instagram video today about the one thing that the moment that I really woke up all the way. And it was, and I realized that the mainstream media was just lying to me constantly. And it was when there was a bunch of mainstream media in 2017 going off on Trump for not shaking a disabled young boy's hand. There was a crowd. He ignored the boy. They showed this clip and it made him look like the most callous, creepy guy in the world. What they didn't show, and I had seen the whole thing, is that Trump walked in the room. The first person he went to was the little boy, sat down, bent down, spent a moment with the little boy, and they cut that out and just spun this whole yarn. And I was like, that's, because I was just on autopilot, like a lot of Americans, just going about my business, thinking everything was fine with the government's running things. My biggest complaint was like the DMV sucks. Like that was it.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
Maybe meter maid.
Mail service kind of.
Yeah.
So,
Damn meter maid didn't give me any slack, things like that. And now I realized, and once I saw that, I started to really start asking questions. And as you know, once you start asking questions, you get answers. And wow. And I am just still only a few years in and overwhelmed at the web that these psychopaths have woven for us.
Unbelievable, isn't it? Unbelievable. And it's deeper. It's we briefly talked, but it's even deeper than that. It is some of the rabbit holes Jim and I have gone down with reliable sources and guests have been eye-opening, frightening, and you almost think it would be in some sort of novel. It would be made up. It would just be, and it's not. And it's just like, when did this all start? When did this start happening? Was it the JFK assassination? Was it before that? Was it, after that? Like, when did this whole deep state? And we just go down these paths and we're like, what? It's hard.
What's your current theory on when it started?
It would be, to me, to me, it's the JFK situation. That's the as far back as I research can know. I mean, I don't know if it's FDR even back then. I don't know if it's the whole, did we know Pearl Harbor was going to happen? I've heard that. I haven't researched it, so I haven't gone down that path. But to me, it's the JFK assassination. Never did think it was one simpleton who was sitting up in a building able to clock off those shots. It just never did sit right with me. So once you start researching it more and you go down it again, Jim and I, we're not conspiracy guys. We really aren't. It just turns out most conspiracies are turning true. You just got to wait a little while, right?
Well, the conspiracy guys, it sounds like were never conspiracy guys, and they were just labeled that, right?
That's right. You're right.
Correct. That is correct. Yeah. There are some people out there that kind of, go a little bit, but then you start seeing
Fruit Loops,
then you start seeing what's going on. It's like, okay, well, how weird is this? And
when did it start for you, Jim? I mean, when was
actually it's wasn't really following a lot of that. I've heard all about the JFK. I've heard all about the Pearl Harbor. We knew all of it. It was happening because Europe knew it, because they wanted us to get in. We heard all this stuff that Churchill wanted us involved, so he knew it was anyway. Whatever rabbit hole you want to go down, you can go down. But one of the things we have is we've got a guest coming up here in a couple weeks. He's a friend of ours, and JJ Carroll is his name. He's a border expert. And one of the things that we have been hearing about, because we've talked to different border experts, if you want to go with the conspiracy theory that we're starting down the line, if these polls continue to go the way they're going, and it looks like President Trump is going to win, because there's only so much cheating you can do without it making look like you obviously cheated, right? I mean, there's only so much they can do. There could be something that happens that we don't have an election. Whether it's a terrorist attack or whether it's something that happens within this country that will, and that's what our concern is right now.
Correct.
Is that we don't even know if there's even going to be an election. And now, I don't want people saying, "Oh my God, 2 guys, 1 coup." There,
a bunch of whack jobs.
Just some of the things with all the terrorists that have come across the border, all of them that have come across it. I mean, it's scary to think about it, but you look at these crazy people, and it's not just the libs. There's some Republicans involved in this as well, the Bushes and other names. It scares me to think that. I hope I'm wrong. I hope the election goes off fairly, and because we all know that if it's a fair election, it's a landslide, right? I mean, let's
would have
face
been,
but
Yeah.
It's scary. And yeah. So the border experts are the ones we listen to on stuff like this because they've seen it. They know what's going on. They lived it.
Yep.
So,
exactly.
Wow. It's just, that is, yeah, they can't try another scamdemic because I don't like, honestly, they could be like the most mega bubonic plague could hit. And I'd be like, I'm going out, I'm living my life.
Yeah.
Like,
we're not doing that again.
Like, bring the wheelbarrow by, I'll drop my neighbor in it and I'm carrying on. Like, I don't care.
Yep.
The people that wear the masks in the cars will still be around. Yeah. But you know, the most majority of the people, now we're not going to.
Yeah, we're not doing it.
I'm not afraid to die. So, you know, I know where I'm going.
Correct.
So it's going to be all right. But they are, I'm very afraid of what terror attack is coming because I know that we are about to, and I know that's going to be sicker and darker and crazier than anything we've ever seen.
It is, and it's going to be, we think, in multiple areas.
Yep.
I think that too.
Yeah, we think it's going to be in multiple areas, and we think it's going to be, and we can either talk about this or not talk about it, and it's just a theory, but for Jim and I, we think it might be at a school level type of situation, and that scares the living hell out of us. You know, we don't have children in school anymore. We have adult children, but we just feel that's a vulnerable. Can you imagine that? I mean,
the reason I'm like looking like this is because I've had these exact same thoughts.
Okay.
I was a psychopath and I wanted to wreak havoc on America. Like,
where would I do it?
And I would do a coordinated multi-location, perfectly timed attack and on children.
Yeah. Sadly, yes. That's probably the most effective way to do it. So terrible to think about. Yep.
Yeah. So that's, you know, we're not giving anybody any ideas because what they will come up with will be worse than anything.
Oh, absolutely.
We haven't thought about what they're going to try.
Yeah, you're right.
It's because we don't think that way. Right.
Mhm.
Exactly. Wow. See, look at this. We've been together so long.
That's my man.
We finish each other's sentences.
Like I met you 5 minutes ago, and we're finishing each other's sentences. This is really scary. Yeah.
We have
So
an
you know
effect
what?
on
I'd
people,
love
I
to
don't
make
know.
a segue into schools. Since
Sure,
we're
go ahead.
talking about that, because
Absolutely.
I'm screaming all day long about get your kids out of the American public schools
Correct.
because they're destroying them. And now you guys, we just discussed another very good reason to do that. Well, not reason, theory. This what I have is actually proven.
Correct.
The damage that's happening to schools. And I don't know if you know this, but in 3/4 of states, it is legal on the books to show pornography to kids in schools and libraries.
So it's unbelievable.
Yeah.
I mean, we have Jim and I are so briefly, if we got a minute, Jim and I can explain this, but we literally had no clue this was going on, right?
Who did?
So absolutely no clue. And then when we heard about it, which was for us really only a couple of years ago, right, Jim?
Yep.
That's really when we
first started.
Yeah, and that's because of the group Moms for Liberty.
Right.
Got to know some of those people, and then got to know some more of those people, and then all of a sudden, next thing you know, we're going to their summits, and we're hearing all this stuff, and we're seeing it. And we're like, what is going on? And then to find out that a lot of this was been going on since like 2015, 14, 13, like way back, and so in going down that path with the porn in schools, I had no idea it was 75% of the states allow that. I believe that to be 100% true because
75% states allow it legally. 100% of the states allow it because the stuff is in all 50 states.
Well, correct.
And nobody uses the law on the books to prosecute. Can I show you a quick clip from my documentary?
Please.
Yeah.
So I did a documentary about this. This isn't an HBO documentary. This is an angry American made a documentary kind of a thing. And I'm very proud of the work because it's helping to wake people up. And that's my whole jam is slapping people awake. Here's one little segment.
Okay.
When I talked to Terry Schilling in DC, I left shocked by what he told me.
This all started with Alfred Kinsey and the Kinsey Institute. They started pushing these laws. 37 states have what's called obscenity exemption statutes, and that allows them to put pornographic books in schools. So what's happening is you can be in a school and show children in a classroom books like Genderqueer, books like Let's Talk About It, whatever porn it is, doesn't matter. You can show it to them. But if you walk outside that school to the playground up across the park and you show those same children the same material, you'll be arrested. We have a nonsensical system where the institutions with authority are able to deliver the most damage and abuse to our children.
I'm in shock.
If you or I gave it to kids in school, parents would have us locked up. It's literally sexual abuse of children.
Yeah. So is that called American Groomer? Is that what your documentary?
It's American Groomer.
Yep.
You can watch it at americangroomerfilm.com. And I made it free. I didn't put it behind a paywall. Like people can contribute if they want to throw a few bucks at it. I appreciate it. It helps. But it's too important. I see a lot of people make these amazing documentaries and then it's like $20 to watch. I'm like, if you really cared, you just get it out there.
You just get it out there. Correct.
Yeah.
Yep.
I mean,
Look at your schedule for July 10th and see if you'd be willing to come on our show and introduce that. And then because that goes down the line of what we have. We have a lot of Moms for Liberty who listen to us, who watch us.
And not only that, but the book they mentioned, the Genderqueer book, is obviously probably one of the more famous of books. There's a lot of them.
This book is gay is another one.
This book is gay. They got The Bluest Eye. All Boys Aren't Blue. I've got a list of them here, right?
Yeah.
All of them some of them with incest and rape and heavy drug use, pedophilia. I mean, these are the things that we're being taught to. And boy, I'll tell you, we ran into a protest of teachers who just absolutely denied any of this was happening. And we tried to have a logical conversation about it. And obviously with protesters, you can't. And they weren't the paid ones. So these were actual teachers in schools in Florida. 2 years ago now. Yeah. And they absolutely denied any of this was happening in there. And it's just,
they still do.
Some
of them are in denial and don't know, and some of them are flat out lying.
Yep, correct.
Correct.
Exactly.
100%.
100% right. And what you guys talked about, Jim has said probably 1,000 times on the show. If any of us distributed that book in a park, if we went to the public library and just started handing those books out to the children, we'd be in cuffs, we'd be arrested, and rightfully so. Rightfully so. Yeah, it's grooming, it's pedophilia, and it's the Marxist Lenin way. You know,
What
and
states
lose your
are you
children
guys
for
in?
4 years, you'll never get them back.
I'm in Indiana.
I'm in Florida. So
Okay, so Indiana is what we would, call a quote unquote good state. That doesn't have an obscenity exemption statute, but
good.
It does, and that is a relatively new development that just happened. They had it removed in the past few years. But again, no one is using the criminal statutes to go after the teachers, the librarians, the administrators who are pushing this stuff. So having it be on the criminal books, it isn't serving anybody, because if you go after somebody, as you know, they say you're a homophobe and a transphobe and you're discriminating. Why the gay community would want to attach themselves to this kind of thing is mind-boggling. But in my film, I actually interviewed the president and the top leaders at Gays Against Groomers.
Yep, great group.
Fantastic. I love these people. And they, they're out there going, yeah, no, we didn't ask for this, and we're not. But the TQIA plus two-spirit unicorns, they're all in.
It's the after. Yeah,
true.
There are 423 sexes now. I think we're up to. I don't know.
Genders.
I mean,
genders. You can say it correctly, will you? But yeah, that's true, and that's that literally the Gays Against Groomers. We saw, if I could remember the president's name of the group, you probably know it. Jamie Michelle. Saw her speak at the summit, and absolutely spot on. I mean, first
thing she did was apologize.
Yeah. For that whole, because there is a lot, and they probably, most of the people won't know it because it's not going to ever be reported on the media. You're never going to see that on Pride Month. The Gays Against Groomers. You're just going to see the bizarreness that happens during it. Most of them don't want that. They don't want to be associated with this bizarre behavior and furries and non-binaries and all that. Like, it's absolutely, it's a mental illness at that point. So
a lot of them are still in denial, though, that this flag has become, married to this stuff. And I see people I know who would be against grooming and pedophilia flying a flag because they're just still buying into this community is being attacked. Like, they're still buying it. And it's like, they don't realize that it's like, they're giving themselves the Catholic Church treatment.
Correct.
Remember when the Catholic Church did the thing and they didn't, and they covered it all up and they pretended like there was nothing going on until it was exposed. That's what the Pride movement is doing it to itself, because they're worse. They're doing it out in the open. I don't understand.
We believe that with what's happened in Louisiana, with allowing the 10 Commandments to be in public schools, I love how the other side deems us, those of us who think that's okay, what's wrong with it? What's the harm? We're demonized by it. Yet these are the same groups of people that it's okay to have these pornography books in school. It's okay for them to have that. And one of the things that we did see, you mentioned flags. When we were in Philadelphia at the last summit, there was a flag there that Dale and I didn't know what flag it meant, because there's a whole bunch of flags. Dale looked it up. It's an AMBLA flag, and if you're not familiar with AMBLA, it's the North American Man Boy Love Association, so it's pedophiles.
It's a pedophile group. Yep.
And here we are. This not the LBG, because that's what we always say. Anything after LBG, they're kind of losing it. But you're supporting pedophiles now, and
but you can hang that in a classroom, and that's okay.
Yep, exactly. That's
right.
Well, think about if we just go through real quick a couple of the commandments, like don't kill. That is disruptive to their multi-billion-dollar abortion industry that they want children to be convinced is okay. Don't lie. That immediately will have kids going, yeah, I think, but Susie is actually a boy. Why is he saying that she's a girl? It'll start it starts raising questions.
Correct.
And you could go through each one and match it up to one of their psycho agendas, that's why they don't want it, because it's truth.
Because it's true.
An excellent point.
Yep. Very good. Great point. It's true. 100% true. So, but bizarre. Absolutely bizarre.
It just
You get
keeps going
demonized
down.
for
I mean,
those
you just-
terminologies.
Just
and
when you
then-
think it can't happen, something it can't happen, it does, and it's just.
and that's why perhaps the election not happening is not
Mhm.
out of the realm of possibility for us, at least.
But
thinking
definitely
about
would like
it.
to have you on to talk about that, so we can
Would
look at that
definitely.
documentary closer, and love to have
Absolutely.
you on.
Heard about
Well-
it, so I haven't seen it, but I
Yeah,
will watch
yeah.
it. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah,
All right.
Eddie-
Well,
Eddie for-
I'm definitely, we're definitely going to do that. We'll pick
Uh-huh.
a date. We'll get it on the calendar.
Right.
Thank
All
you. And thank you
Yeah.
guys for coming today. And,
My God, thanks
no
for the
worries.
invite.
We want to
It's an honor.
support. We
It's an
want to
honor.
support everyone.
It's
Yeah,
the based
we're-
mother. I mean,
It's
who
kinda
would say
cool.
no?
I don't know about
Right.
honor, but yeah.
Who would
thanks.
say no? Hey,
So,
listen,
so you
know.
record,
or
obviously
you
Tuesday.
go live, yeah,
you
twice
go
a week.
live.
Do you?
I'm here Tuesdays at noon and Fridays at 9 Eastern. And what is your show on? Before you go, I want you to give us a good explanation. Tell us what to expect and when you're live.
Well, what to expect, huh? Yeah, greatness, of course, right, Jim? Absolutely about the same as what we're seeing here. We discuss the issues on not only just school, but the policies, everything that affects basically the middle class. That's what we are. We're two middle class working stiffs. We got full-time jobs. We work in manufacturing. We're seeing a lot of supply chain issues, a lot of labor issues, costs skyrocketing, not just there, but at our own homes. So we talk about all of that, and absolutely the bizarreness that is the Democrats and the liberals and the progressive left. So yeah, go on.
We
Go
try
on,
to
Jim.
do it with a little bit of humor.
Try to.
All right,
I mean, we try some levity,
because
some
we have
subjects
to
you
laugh.
can't. Yeah.
But there are topics that it's not funny.
Yeah.
So
correct.
I mean, we are serious when we
Mhm.
need to be, but we also do like to joke, and
Yep.
it's just we just want to try to make people understand that this country
Mhm.
needs to get back to where it was.
Where it was,
and,
it's just
you
the
know,
values that
yeah.
that the forefathers set out for us. Constitutional rights, they it's on paper. We all know it.
Right.
It
5
it
minutes
works.
ago, we were living that way.
Yep,
Five-
that's what I'm saying.
It just
Yep.
it happened so fast that we
It-
just went to complete crazy town.
I knew it would go down. I didn't know it would go down that fast, but
Yeah.
I literally, I never expected it to
Yeah,
go down.
people
that
have
fast.
predicted it. I mean,
Mhm.
they predicted
Yep.
it many years ago. We played an excerpt from the
Paul Harvey.
That's Paul Harvey,
hmm
and he called it in the 90s.
Yeah,
Called
yeah,
what was happening.
Oh,
The devil is
yes.
going to come in, and it's like, holy cow!
yeah.
But we not record. Sorry, we are live Mondays and Wednesdays at 10:30 Eastern Standard Time.
A.M. 10:30 a.m.
Yeah,
So we're the morning guys. So right now, so we do 10:30 Mondays and Wednesdays, every week. This has been great.
Mhm.
Kind of a learning experience. We came from a different platform, and so we're learning things too over here. But it's been great so far, and we're very excited to be part of the network and part of this family, and
Mhm.
knowing you and everybody else who's on it. It's we're excited for it. So
Me
Great.
too. Well,
Yeah,
so great to meet
great.
you guys, and I'll see you on your show soon.
thank you again. We appreciate it.
Yeah,
All
thanks
right,
for
talk to you
coming.
soon.
All right.
Bye bye.
Bye-bye. Wow, that was a lot of fun. I just met those guys for the first time, and I cannot wait to talk to them some more. I like the way their minds work. Give me a sec. I'll be right back after this commercial break.
Born in the coastal plains of South Texas, Smoking Gun Coffee is founded by combat veterans that know exactly what a cup of coffee needs to taste like. Run by father and son, each coffee bean is perfected, roasted at 500 degrees, and cooled with a Gulf Coast breeze. Smoking Gun Coffee hand makes and bags each ounce of coffee for maximum customer satisfaction. With every purchase, 10% goes back to organizations that help veterans and local communities. That's Texas made, one bag at a time. To find out more, go to www.smokingguncoffee.com.
All right, guys, go to smokinggun.coffee and use code MOTHER when you check out for a special based mother discount. That's code MOTHER, smokingguncoffee.com. And all right, let's go. While we're thinking about coffee, last week in Philadelphia, a gaggle of village idiots came out to play. And I know that's not nice, but they really do ask for it. Check this out.
Ori, you can't hide. We all see your greedy side. Former employees of OCF Coffee House rallied outside of the now closed Fairmount Cafe on Tuesday.
We've been paid really bad wages, and this was our attempt to get better wages and make the place that we love better.
The coffee shops are owned by OCF Realty. The real estate brokerage announced the closures to employees in an email which included 2 other locations in South Philly. Workers like Alex Simpson say they were shocked.
I am pretty crushed, especially when it's such a blatant response to our union process. This comes a week after we publicly announced our union.
Shocked. They're shocked. What on earth makes them think that pouring coffee is of such tremendous value, that it's so skilled work that they should receive union wages and benefits? I mean, what on earth makes them think that a small food and beverage business has a profit margin that could support that? It's just zero common sense or business sense. And the problem is that there was no thinking involved at all. The owner is the only one with a brain. They just up and walked away. Oh, you're going to just destroy my business with your union demands? Okay, I'm out. That's it. And now these great thinkers are outside of a closed, shuttered business, an empty building, and they're protesting to nobody. But to be serious for a second, what has happened to young people? They have been trained to just be activists and disruptors. When life doesn't go their way, they bust out their bullhorn. I mean, about 10 years ago, 10, 15, do you guys remember, if you're older like me, there's this sense of entitlement that was brewing among young people. They were just so entitled. I kind of miss that, to be honest. It's now full-blown burn it down when you don't get your way. It's like they all read the same children's book called My First Bullhorn. I don't know. If growing up, I've been working since I was 9 years old. So a long, many decades. And if I didn't like the terms of my job, whether the hours, the workload, the work itself, the pay, you know what I did? I worked to pick up new skills. And then I went out and found another job with those new skills. It was really that simple. I didn't start a protest if I didn't like my boss. I've told a couple bosses off, and that didn't end well for me. But still, I knew that when I did something like that, I was going to have consequences. Wouldn't change a thing, to be honest. In any case, I am grateful that the news crew showed up, because if they hadn't, we would have missed this great meeting of the minds altogether. I wonder what they're doing now, because they're going to have some good company on the unemployment line. Did you hear that Hooters just closed 40 restaurants out of nowhere, just shut them down? That's a lot of cooks and waitresses and bartenders and hostesses out of job. That's a lot of suppliers and truckers affected. It's an awful lot of empty real estate. 40 Hooters. Those are big restaurants. I'm sure if you haven't been in one, you've driven by one. But nothing's wrong. If you look at the White House Twitter page, Americans have never been more prosperous. There aren't zombies on the streets, overdosing. Americans aren't having a hard time filling up the fridge. None of that. There's nobody on the unemployment line. It's not like Dollar Tree is closing down 1,000 stores, or CVS with 900 stores going down, or Walgreens. I think they closed 150 stores this year. Macy's is going to be shuttering 150 locations over the next 18 months. It's empty storefronts all over America. Yeah, everything's fine. Everything's fine. We should all just protest, and that'll change it, won't it? Everything will just be better. I mean, I could go on. I have a long list of the store closures, and I've shared that with you before. We are literally just standing on the edge of a cliff, because what I was just talking about are store closures, like retail and restaurant people, but we also have tech sector layoffs and, media sector layoffs. It's happening every single day. The headlines come out, and as soon as they come out, they go down to the bottom of the pile, because they don't want you to know. They don't want us to have a collective panic, and we should not panic, but we do need to be aware so we can make intelligent decisions on how to survive in Biden's America. Because even after Biden leaves office, the repercussions of what he has started we're in trouble for a long time. But okay, Who cares about economic doom and gloom? We'll worry about that later, right? Disneyland now has drag queens dancing for children in the Main Street Parade. Did you see it? So much fun. So much fun. Can someone remind me again, why do children need to celebrate the sexual orientation of adults? Why do children need to think that gender dysphoria is normal part of everyday life? Because let me tell you something, it's not. It's just not. And it never will be, no matter how hard they spin, no matter how loud they shout, or no matter how much corporate America just shoves it down our throats. We are not having it. I'm going to say it straight. Now that they are joining the effort to push this insanity onto our kids, Disney can take their mouse and their castle and their bearded fairy godmother and they can pound it, all of it. I'm not playing with them anymore. And honestly, I will miss it. I loved Disney. I've been to Disney parks more times than I can count. And it's just dead to me now. I will not continue to support an organization that is sexualizing and grooming our children, who is actively not hiring white people because of the color of their skin. I mean, go to hell. Ugh, Walt Disney is just rolling in his grave. Oh, all right. All right. All of this madness just has to come to an end. Oh, no. There is one more thing I want to tell you about that I totally forgot. Did you see this Georgia judge, Christina Petersen? Hold on. No, back up. I'm confused. Zip. Okay. All this insanity. The White House is pushing all this gender dysphoria stuff on us. I mean, they've got, men in drag hanging out at the White House, dancing on the White House lawn. They're trying to, pass the Equality Act to give them the right, men in drag, men who think they're women, the right to, be in women's sports and bathrooms and locker rooms. It's just absolutely insanity. And so, I do want to bring Donald Trump back into the office. And I know that even if he gets elected, it's going to take so long to clean this mess up. And the devils causing it are just going to keep pushing their agenda. So if he gets elected, we're going to have to fight even harder for sanity. I'm doing what I can in a small way to help President Trump get elected. And part of that is helping out his businesses when I can. And this is actually a little bit fun. I had a good time putting this together. It's a little video. And for the record, I was not paid to do this. I just want people to know that there's, there are other fun ways to support the guy. And yeah, this was fun. Take a look. Now that Donald Trump's been convicted on 34 felony counts, some things are going to change around here. Next time you come to my house, I'm going to make you a drink in a Trump shaker and serve it in a Trump glass. And you can rest it on a Trump coaster while you're munching on a Trump golden bouillon chocolate bar. And if you get cold while I'm dealing out my golden Trump cards, you can warm up under my new Trump blanket. And at bedtime, you can put on a pair of Trump pajamas and snuggle with my dog, who'll be wearing his Trump bow tie. And in the morning, I'll wake you up with a big Trump mug full of Trump coffee. And that's just what's in my cart so far. I can't do much to help out President Trump, but if letting you guys know about cool stuff at trumpstore.com is a start, count me in. I really did have a good time with that one. Let me know in the comments what you think about everything. I'm sorry I've missed some of your comments here. Let's see. Notice Disney does not put the drag queens in their TV ads, though. Not yet. Not yet. Give it a minute. I'm sure they will be there very soon. Anyway, keep talking to me. If you guys are on Rumble and you want to contribute and help support this show, there is a way to give a super chat contribution, and I would be very, 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 very grateful. Let's get back to it though. One of the reasons that I want to support Trump, because I kind of have the same mindset as the Missouri Attorney General, and I believe that it's a Trump hunt, and it's straight up election interference. And, this guy lived his whole life without breaking any laws, and all of a sudden he's a criminal. Give me a break. Anyway, I have less and less faith in our judicial system when I see things like I'm about to show you. So on Thursday, a judge in Fulton County, Georgia, her name is Christina Petersen, and she was hanging out at a place called the Red Martini in Atlanta. And I looked it up. It looks insufferable, like the kind of place where you go where everyone thinks they're Paris Hilton, but they're most definitely not. Just, oh God, there's enough fake eyelashes, to make anyway, whatever. I don't know what I'm going to make out of all those fake eyelashes. Anyway, there was a girl crying. So a cop walks up to her to talk, like this is inside the place. And Petersen clocks the cop in the head and then caused this massive ruckus. And now she's facing a felony charge. A judge. This video caught some of the drama and some of her behavior. You had to have seen this unless you've been living under a rock. Let's see.
You have prevented
Take that. Me. I could give a damn. Take me where you want to take me.
So how do you want me to take you somewhere expeditiously?
Now. Take me where you want to take me. No! Just let that nigga run for the female. No, he just touched me. Everything for no reason. Right? No. Let him fucking go. Let him fucking go. Let him fucking go. Let him fucking go.
That's a cop.
And that's on me. Shit. No, I didn't. I don't punch niggas. Don't punch me.
Ma'am.
Take me where you want to take me.
I can't take
no,
you. I don't
take
have any
me.
identification on
And
me.
I don't care. You don't need the identification. You have locked people up, and you have picked up dead bodies when you don't know who bodies it was, but you picked them up. Take me where you need to take me.
I'm trying to.
No, take me where you need to take me immediately, expeditiously.
You have prevented
Take me. I could give a damn. Take me where you want to take me.
So how do you want me to take you somewhere expeditiously?
Now. Take me where you want to take me.
I'm not going to say I've never acted like a fool in my life, but I'm not a judge. How are we supposed to trust a system that has judges like Christina Petersen in it? She's out at a club. She gets hammered. She attacks a cop and overall acts like riffraff. And she's going to decide anything about anyone else's life? Anything at all. Her judgment sucks. Okay? Sorry. You should not be in charge of anything that affects anyone else. Of course, she's in Fannie Willis's county. Like, apparently being trashy is a prereq in Fulton County. Or it seems that way. I feel sorry for the good people of Fulton County. You know, the good elected officials, the good appointed attorneys. Like, they're probably going, what's happening here? Because all of them, you know, you put that on a resume and it's going to be like, yeah, okay. Yeah, keep moving. Anyway, next time I drive up the coast. I'm pretty sure I'm going to take the long way around Georgia. I don't know, man. Or at least I'm not going to drive through Fulton County. Yikes. Anyway, all right, I'm going to wrap this up. Every time I'm here with you, we're talking about things we never, ever thought would be happening. We have a president who puts Americans dead last. We have a school system that's putting porn in our children's hands. I didn't read you any porn today. Don't be disappointed. I'm sure I'll be doing that again very soon. You know how I love to let the truth out. We've got a family amusement park celebrating sexual attraction for no apparent reason. We've got young people so bad at life that they stage protests no matter what goes wrong. I mean, it's just aggravating. It's discouraging. And so I want to share with you something that helps me reset when I start to feel like I am going to flip like Michael Douglas and falling down. The Apostle Paul, he was very close to his death, and he was in a Roman prison, and he, it had to really be terrible conditions. And he wrote a letter to Timothy, who was a young pastor in the early church. And it's thought to be the very last letter that Paul ever wrote. In it, he warned Timothy that things were going to get crazy and that people were going to embrace lies and false idols. And like a modern day example of that might be that men can get pregnant, or you can have two spirits. And I don't think Paul saw any of those coming specifically. But he told Paul some words that we can live by today to keep us tempered down and solid during this madness. He said, but you keep your head in all situations, endure hardship, do the work of an evangelist, and discharge all the duties of your ministry. Now, we don't have to be pastors to heed that advice. Keep your head in all situations. That's pretty clear. Let's try not to bug out. Easier said than done, I know, especially when we're facing what we're facing. Endure hardship. Be strong. Be emotionally strong. We need strength right now, very, very badly. We don't need any more screaming psychopaths in the street and gluing, more people gluing themselves to intersections. We've got enough of that. Do the work of an evangelist. For us as non-pastors, that means keep telling the truth. Over and over again. Do not give up on it. This is for everybody listening. You don't have to have a podcast to be speaking truth in your life to everyone you meet. And discharge all the duties of your ministry. Wake up every day and do what God put you on this planet to do. Whatever that is, you and God both know. Do that. Don't hold back on that whatsoever. So go do it. Anyway, that's it for today. So please click like, drop a sub, and follow me on socials at The Based Mother. I'll be back on Friday night at 9 Eastern, and I hope to see you then. God bless America.
Have you heard of The Based Mother?